Okay, now we're going to go to our most commonly missed integer problems. Now think about this. If you can understand what we're going to go over here, you're going to be the type of student who's going to get an A or a B. But if you can't master these problems, then you're looking more like a D or an F. That's why I bring up this topic. It's so important because you have to understand all the different situations of integers or you're going to come up with a grade that you do not want. Okay? The first situation that kids get mixed up on is combining one positive and one negative. And by combine, I either mean subtract or add. Okay? And you simply have to know, well, we are subtracting or adding, and we got one positive, one negative. We're adding here, but we have one negative, one positive. Now, anytime we add or subtract, and we have one positive and one negative, we're combining one of each. So we always see which one is bigger. Which one is bigger? And so that bigger one will keep the sign. Keep the sign of the bigger one, and then we see how much bigger 10 than 7 is, 3. So we subtract 10 minus 7. Then the bigger one minus the smaller one, 6 minus 4 is 2, and then we keep the sign of the bigger number. Okay? Right here. Here's a positive. Here's a negative. The positive is bigger by 15. That positive is bigger than that negative by 3. That negative is bigger than this positive by 3. The negative number is bigger. Here the positive number is bigger by 5. Here the positive number is bigger by 5. Okay? All right. Next one. Oh, and boy, does this happen. Oh, critical not to do this. Don't mix up the rules for add and subtract versus multiply and divide. Okay? Now, look how I put these two papers. I put them side by side. These are plus and minus, and these are times and divide. Now, the rules are separate. The rules for add and subtract are not the same as the rules here. Now, when we have two negative numbers, each one of these is two negative numbers. And when we combine these with adding or subtracting, we always have to remember, you start from 0 and you go back twice to get a big negative. Negative 5, negative 4, negative 9. Negative 6, negative 3, negative 9. Negative 17, negative 3, negative 20. Now that is not the same as when you multiply and divide. Here the rule is when you multiply two numbers that have the same sign, it's positive. Negative times a negative is positive. Negative times a negative is, negative divided by a negative is positive. Negative times a negative is positive. So 5 times 6 is 30. 30 divided by 3 is 10. 7 times 4 is 28. Then two negatives with these sign will always equal to positive answers. Okay? Same thing here. One positive and one negative. One positive and one negative in each of these. Now when you add or subtract, you keep the sign of the biggest number, negative. You keep the sign of the biggest number, negative. You keep the sign of the biggest number, negative. And then you subtract. 11 minus 7, the difference is 4. 6 minus 5 is 1. 14 minus 4 is 10. Or you say to yourself, the negative number is 4 bigger than the positive. But here, okay, it's completely different. You say, in multiplication or division, if your signs are different, negative, positive, positive, negative, negative, positive. If your signs are different, your answer is negative. One negative sign, one positive, negative 42. 25 divided by a negative 5, one positive, one negative, negative 5. 3 times a negative 6, negative 18, because only one of the signs is negative and one is positive. Here's another situation. It deals with subtracting integers, and at some point you have to memorize this phrase. Minus a negative is plus a positive. Here we go. Minus a negative is plus a positive. This is 5 plus 2 is 7. Minus a negative is plus a positive. This is actually 6 plus 7 is 13. Okay? Minus a negative is plus a positive. And this is negative 20 plus 3. Now this is a tough one, because once you do this minus the negative rule, now you gotta know this pattern or rule. The negative number is bigger by 17. So one negative added to a positive, the negative number is bigger by 17. Same thing here. Minus a negative is plus a positive. So you have negative 4 plus 4. And anytime you add opposites, negative 4, positive 4, you always get 0. Okay? Be careful. Adding two negative numbers. Okay? Just remember, negative 8 plus a negative 6 is like negative 8, negative 6. And so you're going back 8, you're going back 6, and you get to a big negative 14. So two negative numbers combined together give you a bigger negative number. Go back negative 15. Go back negative 5, and you get the big negative 20. Right here, go back negative 7, go back negative 3, and you get the big number negative 10. Now, our last most commonly missed problem would be a concrete situation, and let's just say you're hitting a golf ball off of a cliff into the ocean. Okay? So let's say the ocean is at sea level plus 0 feet, and you hit it off a cliff that's 65 feet high, and then the actual ball is going to go off the cliff and land right here, and let's say that's going to be 12 feet below sea level, so a negative 12. Now, the absolute biggest mistake kids make from here, they say 65 to a negative 12. They just guess that it's 65 minus 12 is 53. And that is so wrong. Look, 53 feet is just like right here. No, no, no. When you draw a picture or have a picture in your mind where it says, look, the ball first has to go down the positive 65, and then it has to go down negative, so I got to add 12 more feet to how far it goes down. So I'm going 65 plus the negative number to get a total drop of 77. It's going down a total of 77 feet. And those people who subtract, they're just guessing and they don't understand. So if you can understand all those different types of problems, you should be able to get an A or a B on our common assessment.